Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story comes from Easy Development 627 and says, landlord attached GPS tracker to my car without my consent or knowledge. Hello, a little background. My partner and I were getting the spare tire to my car unmounted from the bottom of the car when he discovered a circular magnetic device attached to the lip of the bumper of the car. We initially couldn't tell what it was, but after using Google Lens, we discovered that it was a land, air, sea tracking device. When we discovered this, we were obviously worried, but I was essentially worried because I'd been stalked and attacked by an ex in November of last year. Thinking it belonged to him, we filed a police report and had them find out who the owner of the tracker was. To our surprise, the tracker was purchased by a landlord of about 3 years. Apparently he's been checking our location periodically and the device was live when we found it. It came as a huge shock to us because he seemed like a genuinely good person who has a family and who even helped us install floodlights and curtains to our home after I was attacked. The police have been trying to contact him to get some answers, but he has not returned their calls. It has only been a day though. Other than feeling unsafe in our own home, we also feel like it was a huge invasion of privacy and honestly, a breach of trust. Again, our rapport with him seemed good and he seemed like a family man, so we just want to know what the future of our housing situation is going to be. I live in Oregon, but I know there can be a case made in criminal court. My main question is, would I be able to sue him? Sorry if this seems all over the place, but I found this all out today and I'm still processing what is happening. Any advice would be much appreciated. And the update's going to come a year later from this original post, and from my perspective, I can't give no legal advice. I don't know enough about this kind of stuff, especially when it comes to US law, because like it changes all over in different states and stuff like that. But I certainly hope that OP can do something about this because that's some creepy ass level behavior. The question is why, and you also ask the future of your housing situation. All I can say is get out of that housing situation as soon as possible. If he's willing to stick a tracker on your car and he's your landlord, it just worries me what else could be in that place. To which the first commenter was thinking similar. They said better check the house for cameras. He may have been making sure you weren't home so he could go in and do some more shady shit. Importantly, Fun replies that and says this right here. It's not much more of a thought process on his part to install cameras in the apartment. Be very thorough. Remove vents, outlet covers, especially in bedroom and bathroom. Change Wi-Fi, computer and other device passwords. You might be able to use your cell phone camera to detect the IR light from hidden cameras. In the end, it's best to terminate the lease and find a new place. And many of the other comments following that were saying exactly the same thing is, look for those cameras in your apartment that he may be tracking you so he can go into your apartment when you're away, etc, etc. But then the update came in a year later and said, wow, I can't believe it has been almost a year since I posted this. A lot has happened between now and then, and I could write a novel about these updates. But writing is not my strong suit, so I apologize if this update seems relatively brief. It's a long update, but a lot of things has happened. So, as some commenters guessed, it was my ex who attacked and assaulted me in November of 2022, who attached a GPS tracker to my car. My ex, from what I remember, used Reddit a lot, so I had to wait to give these updates. Did I mention that he was an ex that I haven't talked to in over 8 years? Anyway, the way he was caught and his behavior following being caught is absolutely unhinged. I posted this the day after the cops showed me that the GPS tracker was registered under my landlord's name, but it soon became very clear that my ex had used my landlord's identity to try and cover his tracks, and he almost got away with it. He put my landlord's name and address as the information for when you register the land, air and sea tracker. The cop showed up to my landlord's home and essentially interrogated and questioned him about the situation. Obviously my landlord had nothing to hide, so he answered their questions. allowed them to search his wallet for any associated credit cards and his phone for any associated numbers. He obviously came out clean, and that's when the real investigating started. The tracker was linked to a track phone that my ex must have been using as a burner phone. It also requires you to make monthly payments via credit card, but he would use a prepaid Visa that had no name and identity associated with it. He probably also paid cash for these prepaid cards. So all of this covering up, and you know what it got him? A woman's voice. Thankfully, the police officer investigating the case took every avenue to catch him, which included setting up a mini sting operation. Since the only lead was the track phone, the officer had a female colleague call the phone number to try and bait him. The call went a little something like this. She said, "Hi, is this so-and-so?" He said, "Yes, who is this?" She said, "This is so-and-so from blank bar. We met the other night and you gave me your number. I just wanted to see if you wanted to hang out sometime." He said, "Oh yeah, I remember you. We should definitely meet up." And so on. The police believed that the recording of the call itself was enough evidence for probable cause, but they wanted to get him meeting her in person to really solidify the PC. They were texting back and forth for a while, but I think he eventually realized that it was too good to be true and that the GPS monitor was no longer going anywhere other than the sheriff's office. He must have put two and two together and stopped. But not all hope was lost. The cop got voice verification from me and one other person that could verify that it was his voice. He was arrested for identity theft and illegally affixing a GPS monitor to my car. Both can be considered a felony since I had a protective order against him. The process of arresting him and indicting him was no walk in the park though. They gave him the opportunity to turn himself in instead of being arrested by an officer or being picked up. But when he realized the trouble he was in, he checked himself into a mental hospital, which was a loophole for him to not be taken into custody, and which meant a mountain of paperwork for the DA's office to get the charges seen before a grand jury. My experience going through the DA's office could be a whole other thread, but I will spare you the details. The grand jury eventually indicts him on both counts and I awaited trial. That should be the end of the story, right? Wrong. Not even 2 months after he's indicted, I see him outside my house. I was driving home from a date night with my partner and we took a different road that we'd normally take home because we saw some cute ducks in a neighbor's yard and it caused us to take a detour. Well, thankfully we detoured that day, because as we're about to rear the corner of the road we live on, we saw him. It was broad daylight and he wasn't even trying to hide his identity, it seemed like. In fact, he just looked like a normal guy walking around the neighborhood. At first, I thought I was just seeing things because I didn't think he would be that careless to be that close to my house after everything. I had a no contact order against him that requires he not be within 500 feet of my home or vehicle, which he was within. As we turn the corner and I start noticing him, he notices us and immediately turns himself so his back is facing us and just kind of pauses like he's looking at something, probably hoping that we don't notice that it's him. I tell my partner to stop the car, and when we stop, he starts speed walking the opposite direction of where our car was headed. We circled back around to verify that it was him, but at that point, he had disappeared into the bushes. We slowly start to head back towards the road we live on, trying to see if we can spot him. As we keep going, he pops out of the bushes about 10 feet ahead of us, makes direct eye contact with us, and then starts sprinting up the road. We head his direction to try and get pictures of him. We're able to get 2 blurry pictures of him, but probably not enough to verify completely that it was him. I filed a police report and talked to his PO about what happened. The PO had him come in and get a GPS monitor anklet pending investigation. I also reached out to the cop that helped me with a GPS tracker and assault case. He helped me go to every neighbor's house and ask for video evidence of creepy stalker X. Some neighbors didn't answer, other places didn't have anything, but the place with the bushes, they had a picture and video of him clear as day crouching in their bushes. Needless to say, he's currently in jail facing multiple charges against him. I want to delve into more detail about the justice system and my grief with it, but for now, I'll just end on a positive update. Thank you to those who gave me advice and showed actual concern. To those who commented that this was an ad for Land Air Sea tracking device, piss off. I also want to acknowledge the cop who's been helping me ever since I was first attacked. He saw me right after I was assaulted in 2022 and saw how shaken up I was. He went out of his way to do a sting operation on the GPS tracker, and he went door to door to find video evidence of my stalker. I don't think the average cop would do half the work he has done, and I will be forever grateful for that. All I can say after this one is I'm so glad you're doing well, OP, and it's not to... I just think of the alternatives of what his ultimate plan would be. The effort he's gone to put a tracker and trying to keep his identity hidden in some ways, using your landlord's identity, and then literally walking about outside your house, hiding in bushes, all this kind of stuff is unhinged behavior. I watch a lot of documentaries about, people that's being stalked and not being taken very seriously, and it's absolutely terrifying. So I'm glad to see something is being done in this situation. It's likely because of his past history, of course, but I'm so glad that something was being done. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from our very own subreddit, r/Mark Narrations. It does have an update as well. It's from Any Significance Please, who says, "Am I the arsehole for clearing my desk? I, 27 female, worked in an office for the last 6 years. Got the job right out of school, shared an office space with a co-worker, Melinda, fake name, and set up the desk to my specifications. Melinda came to work for the company about 2 years after I started. There were times off and on that Melinda would borrow my things, but they were returned promptly and in the same condition she borrowed them in. If she ever needed something while I was out of the office, she would shoot off a text. Mostly she kept losing her scissors, stapler and pens. For a lack of a better word, her materials were boring. Her pens were normal looking while mine were stupidly over the top fluffball tops. This was to hunt them down and if anyone borrowed them. My stapler was shaped like a black cat. My sticky notes, folders, binders and paper clips ranged in color because I color coordinate. I had different colored highlighters, pens and tape. I gave all the old office stuff I was given back to my boss so I could use my own setup at the desk to keep me organized efficiently. Things like folder holders, organizing in baskets, etc. I brought in an electric kettle, a special chair for my back, and a mini drink fridge that Melinda sometimes borrowed for her milk for her coffee. My desk has always had the same setup and I would clean it regularly. During the different seasons, I had little things to set on my desk. A snowman and a Santa for Christmas, a jack-o'-lantern for Halloween, a set of bunnies for Easter, etc. Nothing overly big or fancy, just something to give a seasonal vibe on a small corner of the desk. Most people would go over the top at their desk with decorations, which is perfectly fine. One guy would always wrap his desk in Christmas paper wrapping. I only had little knickknacks. This is just to give an idea of how everything looked. A promotion was handed down during the retirement of one of the older members of the company. I was the one promoted. I should point out that I got this promotion because I would hand off holidays to other co-workers to stay and work. I excelled in my job. I put in the work. With the promotion came a new office that I did not have to share in another section of the company. I warned Melinda of the upcoming changes and said she would likely have a new person in my role in a week or so. She made the comment, "That's fine since I will switch to your desk." I thought it was because she wanted near the window now, so I didn't have anything to say. I got in about 2 hours early this morning and moved all of my personal belongings off the desk. I packed it all up, mini fridge and chair included, and took it all to my new office. I handed off the old desk things and chair to the proper people and cleaned and then set up. I have much more room in the office and I'm not sure yet how to use the space efficiently. About the time Melinda gets into work normally, she came storming into my office yelling at me for taking the good stuff. I am in no way her boss, manager or supervisor now because I've moved to a new section. I listened to her rant and rave about my stapler, my pens and my chair before finally asking if she was done. That seemed to be the wrong thing to ask because she went off about the mini fridge, the organization tools, and my little leg bike thing that I have to keep my legs from cramping or getting deep vein thrombosis from sitting too much. I finally told her that she needed to leave and come back when she was ready for a calm conversation, because I will not sit there and listen to her scream. As she stormed out of the room, she called me a greedy bitch. She has been telling the office I stole from her. Everyone here knows about my color coordination, my weird pens, and my chair and mini fridge. They say I'm an odd duck, but they still think I'm friendly. I let a breastfeeding mother put her milk in my fridge for months so it wouldn't be tampered with. She kept a supply at home and would pump regularly. The office watched me lug it all in the first week I was working, so no one is taking her seriously. Am I the arsehole? At first, I just want to say I kind of like that your company allows you to do that sort of thing, personalize your own setup. I've worked for companies that were absolute pains in the nutsacks. One of the last companies I worked for, your desk pretty much had to be pristine, no knickknacks on the... If you're not using it, it needs to be put away in the drawer in the appropriate place. I had to have a back and forth discussion via email why I had two keyboards on my desk, because one I used for like macros and stuff or like video editing, and the other was just set up as a standard keyboard. And let me tell you, it was such, it wound me up. It's like, how can I explain this any clearer? It's like, no, can't you just get it out when you need to use the macros? So I was like, oh my word, really? Why is this bothering you so much? But this is just simply, it was your property. Not sure why she's getting in such an arse about it. Just tell her to piss off. Simple as that to me. I mean, I suppose because you're in a company setting, you need to be a little more diplomatic than that, I'm sure. So, talk to the appropriate people about it. But Noir says, not the arsehole, but do run over to HR. You can't have people just straight up show up to yell at you for moving your personal property to your new office. Preach, my friend, preach. Also, this is very odd behavior. Even if they were office-owned supplies, as you said, you are usually supposed to return those to whomever is in charge of the office supplies. If she wants fluff top pens, she can put in a requisition, not go and verbally assault random co-workers. Seriously, you need to start a paper trail on this person. Enter the hellscape says, 100% an email to HR and Melinda's manager. Just the angry conversation. Yeah, OP could just handle it herself between the two of them, but with Melinda very loudly calling her a greedy bitch and now no doubt bad-mouthing her to others. That's defamation and hurting OP's character. Given that she just got a promotion, words like that could lead to people thinking she was the wrong hire and really hurt her upwards movement. Ginger Inside 007 says totally not the arsehole. This happened with one of my co-workers years ago. Oddly enough, found a lot of her coloured folders left behind since she left the office since COVID and working from home. And the manager lady demanded she either go to the manila coloured folders or ugly green ones because it made everyone else feel unimportant. Dearie me. She did eventually go to HR because that manager took some of her stuff when she was on vacation and said, I decided to get the same things as you since I wanted to coordinate. I'm charging the company for what I bought. Lady never bought it. She stole it and charged the company. When that came out, the lady had to not only reimburse the company, but the co-worker too. Then the lady retired soon after as she was meddling in other people's business, including mine, where we had zero contact due to our jobs. Congrats on the promotion. Keep being your individual self and use the goodies that work for you. Oh yeah, congratulations from myself by the way as well. Good shout there, Ginger. So then OP came in with the update and said, I followed the big advice I kept getting about making time to meet with HR. I made an appointment, got in contact with a few people who witnessed her yelling and others who she told I was stealing her stuff, so I had evidence at hand. I had all my invoices for everything I had bought with my own money. Thank you for this bit of advice, it really saved me. My appointment was first thing in the morning, but to my surprise, they'd already caught wind of the problem. HR was quite disappointed in me at the start of the meeting. I let them talk until they started in about me returning my stolen items. I handed over all of the invoices and asked them to explain how I was to return the items I myself bought with my own money. They quickly and profusely apologized. They said Melinda, fake name of my co-worker, had caused such a stir among the co-workers and people were getting upset. I told them their apology meant very little to me because it showed how quickly they would jump to a random claim of anything negative. There is a difference between being proactive and negligent. They're upset to hear that, but understood. I demanded the allowance of a sort of nanny cam in my office and change of locks that let only myself, my immediate boss, and the maintenance man to have a copy. Both demands were promptly met. They drafted the email sent to Melinda, with my approval, and sent it off. They then held a meeting to clear the bad air Melinda had left around the office, waving my invoices as proof. Melinda was not present for the meeting, but I did see her boss leading her to the HR department a little while later. It looked like she had been crying. Others came up to me to either tell me they'd never believed her or apologize for wondering if what she was saying was true. My new co-workers told me this was an epic start to my new beginning in their section. One of the ladies said I had a shiny spine to scold HR of all departments. They all seem like lively and well-connected people. I'm a little worried about trying to find a place to fit, since I don't usually fit well with people. Again, thank you everyone for your help and votes. And because it's on our own subreddit, I'm just going to read the top comment from this update from Busy Suspect 6278, who said, "I was waiting for this post. Good for you. So happy you're able to get everything in order and arrived with receipts. Frankly, HR should be ashamed for immediately picking a side instead of being a neutral party. You are a winner here. Congrats, and I hope you mesh well with the new crew you're going to be working with." Absolutely. I'm glad OP did get this sorted, and like they said, HR to jump on one side immediately like that without any discussion is absolute batshit crazy in my opinion. Not surprising, but still crazy. And to me it sounds like you're going to be a good fit with the new team, and I really hope that you are and enjoy your new position with less drama going forward. Anyway, now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for getting involved in today's stories. Your love, your support, your time always means the absolute world to me. And if you have your own story like OP here, don't forget to share it on r/Mark Narrations. Hopefully a full story or one with an update, if you can, really helps out. And I will see you in the next one. Take care and much love.